The Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners. Welcome back, everybody. Time again for Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here. Really happy to welcome back one of the iconic artists, part of the great Dodson family team that brings us so many great images over the years. Terry Dodson, welcome back to Word Balloon.
Hey, thanks so much for having me back, John. It's a pleasure to be here. Enjoy your show, and I'm glad to be talking with you again.
I always feel the same, Terry. It means a lot that you come back. Congratulations, you're in the midst of a Kickstarter campaign. And, geez, I'm going to bring up the cover, and here we go. And everybody, it's The Art of Rachel and Terry Dodson. And there's the 3 versions of the book that you can get. And you're doing this through Flesk Publications. I'm a massive fan of everything that John Flesk does and the artists that he teams up with to put out books like this. This is great. Congratulations.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks so much. Yeah, Flesk Publication does amazing books. I met John in 2008 when he had done his very first book was a Franklin Booth book, which is a classic illustrator, and it was a book that had been out of print, and he had reprinted it, and then he did another book, and then I think the next book after that was like a Mark Schultz book. So he kept doing book after book that I was fan of, and then I met him at a convention, and we were fans of each other. And so ever since then, we've known each other. And John's actually been publishing my smaller sketchbooks since 2012. So if anybody's picked up one of those, that's John that's put that out, the Flesk Publications. They really know their stuff, really know how to run a Kickstarter, and really know how to make good looking books. And I'm really proud to be part of his line because it's such an amazing lineup of books that he puts out.
First of all, I really want to acknowledge a guy that's watching at 3 a.m, his local time, Don Murray. Thank you very much. And Don, also a big supporter of John's, books. And as I was telling you off the air, man, no, when I go to San Diego, I always go to John's area, and usually Mark Schultz and Gary Gianni are set up there, and they're longtime friends. And
Right.
it just, no, he knows what he's doing. They're beautifully made books, and I'm really glad that you've got that association with him. Terrific stuff.
Yeah, it's John's a good person. That's first and foremost. It's nice to work with someone that you're very comfortable and are friends with. Second of all, his taste in books and other artists is amazing. And then him and Vicky, who works with him, who puts the books together, just do gorgeous books. Everything about it is quality. It's not about profit. It's about making the nicest book to represent the artist. It's teamwork. He doesn't look at that as his own books. It's him and the artist combining. He wants everyone involved as much as they want to be involved in the project. I've previously really kind of designed and put together most of my own sketchbooks, but with this book in particular, I really let John just take control. I mean, I had a couple of ideas, but I wanted him to really do his thing and actually kind of sit back and see what he would do and just kind of enjoy it. And since the book features both Rachel's and my stuff, I thought it was really important that someone from outside was in charge and making sure it looked right. And and funny enough, I actually sit in John's booth now in San Diego myself. This upcoming year will be the 3rd year where
that's great.
I have half of John's booth, so it's a good spot. It's a good location, and I'm proud to be there again. So
yeah, it really is. It's like on the edge of Artist Alley, everybody. And
right.
You can't help but see the beautiful art from John's books and everything, and represented by yourself. And like I said, geez, I haven't been there. I've been there in a while, San Diego. I think 2018 or 2017 is the last time I went. Good Lord, now it's 7 or 8 years since I've been there.
Lies.
Yeah. But no, it's it's always a great show, and it gives me the opportunity to say hi to John and Mark Schultz, and Gary's usually there as well. Gianni, yeah,
Right.
no, good
Right.
stuff. And again, I noticed John wrote the introduction for the book. Would you say so? It sounds like Flesk is really and the Flesk team are kind of curating your stuff, and it really that's at least from a presentation standpoint, that's the vibe I got.
Right. I mean, we could have gone outside and had someone else write it or whatever. But John, Rachel and I both have known John for so long. We're friends with him and his girlfriend Vicky, and we visit them regularly. And it's someone that we're really comfortable with. So he knows, and he knew our careers before we even started working together. So there's a real high mutual level of respect. Obviously, I love what he does, but he was already a fan of our work. He actually buys our artwork still to this day. He buys pages and covers from us, so he definitely likes our stuff. So having someone like that who I already know does great, amazing work on other people's books, being in charge, a professional fan is like the best thing, because you're going to get their best effort. And yeah, he did a great job. All the photos in the book are either by John or by Vicky. They came to our house at least twice, and we went down there once or twice, and they took a bunch of photos. They scanned everything at our house. Came to the house with 2 scanners, scanned everything. So you're getting stuff because for comics, most of my career, everything you see in this book, I scan myself and then I color. But I don't scan the artwork for reproduction in black and white. Those scans are made for me to clean up and then color. So John came back up and did higher full color scans of the artwork, so you really get to see all the details. So it looks like the original pages. It's very wow. Close to an artist edition, just a smaller size.
I understand. I totally understand. Now, I found a photo of you and Rachel, and I'm so glad, because truly, as I was telling you off the air, one day I will have Rachel on the show as well. But this is great, and again, you guys are such a team. Like, how long after you met did you guys start collaborating?
It's a long ways. It was I had gotten my Rachel's got her degree in interior design, and I had actually already started working in comics. So we knew we were already together at that point, but it was a point where I was not finding inkers that were really doing what I wanted. And so I gave Rachel a brush one day, and she had like amazing control from the beginning. She was already a good artist. She already had good taste. But that instant control was pretty spectacular, because the brush inking is exactly what my work needs. And so I hooked her up with Gary Martin, who's one of the, phenomenal inkers. He actually wrote the Art of Inking in the mid to late 90s. So he's highly respected. He was inking, I think, like Steve Root at the time. And so Rachel assisted him for a year. And after that year, she was writing. I mean, she was inking some other guys in our studio, I think, at the time in Portland. And then the right job came along where we had a real nice long deadline. And I always ink my work really tightly so anybody could ink it. But now we had someone, in the studio that was actually doing it. So the communication was clear, and we liked so many of the same artists and styles that there really wasn't too many conflicts on the final look, which, we really had a very similar vision for what we wanted.
Very, very cool. I'm going through the Kickstarter campaign, and I'm looking at some of the prints that you're offering. And I mean, right there, Adventureman and Cross Draw. Okay. Cross Draw, absolutely. Yes. We'll talk about this, because Volume 3 has come out from Image. You and Fraction on Adventureman, and help me about Bonnie Annie here.
That's a Christmas card we did probably 7 or 8 years ago. So Bonne année is Happy New Year in French, and we just kind of wanted to give it a special, not so traditional looking or named Christmas card. You make it something a little bit more magical, I guess, so that the French name helped out.
I was going to say the ugly American. Yeah, hey, Bonnie Annie. Yeah, tell me about her.
That's okay. That's okay. It looks good written on the card that we made. So that was more.
No, it's lovely.
Yeah. And that was actually Rachel's horse that she had at the time.
No way.
Yeah. It was
Oh
actually
my
black,
God.
but that was his face and how he acted. So yeah.
That's beautiful, man. What was the horse's name?
Caspian, of
Caspian. Wow.
Of course.
No, and I always forget, Terry, you're out there in the Portland hinterlands and everything.
Exactly.
You're
We are in the
tucked away.
hinterlands, which
Yes.
is nice.
No, that's terrific, man. Jeez. See, everybody's excited, man. No, Ken Dog looking forward to the book. And Don Murray again loves the prints. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Here, I've got the Kickstarter page that I can put up and show everybody some of the things that you're offering. But
those prints you can either do as add-ons, or there's actually there's certain levels of the books that you can buy. But the prints are gorgeous. They're generally when I do prints for shows or online, they're 11 by 17, and these prints I think are 18 by 24. They're G-clay prints. Which means they are the highest level. They are, and we sign them in pencil. That's makes it extra special, apparently. I'm told.
Cool.
We did stickers and postcards, and a print that you get when you pledge for the book. And the book ranges anywhere in price from a $40 soft cover to a $80 deluxe signed. And there's actually a $200 variant, black and white variant of that as well. The book's 180 pages, and it is chock-a-block full of goodness. It covers over 20 years of our work together. And the cool thing is you'll see, for example, a cover that we do, you'll see the pencils. You'll see the sketches I sent to the company to get approval. You'll see the pencil stage, you'll see the ink stage, and then the color stage. And then for every single piece that we do in there is a paragraph 2 or 3 commentary of how, why, and what we did on that piece. So it's not just pretty pictures. It's actually a really good behind the scenes. Plus, I really think it's really good for anybody that's a fan of comics or artists that want to be working comics or even professionals, to kind of get a little bit more behind the scenes about what we do, what we think, why we make the decisions we do. And like I mentioned before, it's a great place to see Rachel's inks in high detail, because what you see in print or what you see in the comics is really no bearing on what those pages actually look like in person. And until you can see her pages in person, it is really something else. The level of delicacy and precision that she gets with a brush. And everybody wants to know what pens and everything she's using. It's like, this is a brush, one brush. 98% of what she does is with a staple brush. So it kind of blows people's minds. So this book really gives you a close-up look at those pages.
That's cool. What kind of brush does she use?
Sable. A sable brush is what every painter, oil painter, and watercolors has been using for a couple hundred years, and they're just very highly skilled brushes. Very expensive, but they last forever, and they give you this really gorgeous line. It's what everyone used forever. I mean, starting probably in the 30s or 40s, everybody was inking comics with these brushes. And it's just less and less, just because it takes a lot more effort to learn how to use one. But once you do, they have the ability to do everything. As you can see in the art that she does, that it confuses people, that they think she's using all these different tools, but the one brush can do everything. And then this does it with a very elegant line, So it really is precise but elegant work.
Have you both, you said that you start on paper and then you
Right.
scan it in and then you color it. Have you toyed with a Cintiq and thought about ever using that stuff for what you guys do?
Well, let me see. Everything I color with a Cintiq. I mean, I do all my work digitally with a Cintiq. But for instance, for what we do, no, because the work she does is so beautiful and the original artwork is so beautiful, it'd be a shame not to. But all the work that I do, all the commercial jobs I do, like I do design work for animation and for video games, and all that stuff is done 100% digitally, because I don't really own the original rights to that stuff anyway, so I can't sell that artwork. Plus the level of changes you make on a design job, 20, 40, 60 variations on something, is so quick and easy to do it all digitally. So it's easy for me to separate that thinking that the commercial jobs are digital, and then the comic book work is so intimate to us. And the original artwork that Rachel does is so gorgeous, it'd be a real shame not to have it. Plus, good percentage of our income comes from selling that original artwork. That's
Oh, of course.
so
Yeah.
it's multifaceted, and honestly, we just enjoy working that way. I mean, the to be able to touch the pages and to see the pages, and I don't know, it's just much more enjoyable. I spend enough time looking at a computer throughout the day, either because I'm doing corrections, or I'm doing coloring, or emailing, social media, design work. That it's nice to get away from the screens and to work at our desks. Yeah.
No, I get it. Absolutely, man. All right. I want to acknowledge some of the comments we're getting. Wayne, who's a big art buyer and a big backer, he backed the signed variant book and the prints here. He also says Rachel and Meredith Finch could talk horses. I don't know if you've had that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I don't think they've met. I'll have to remember that. Good.
So, and here a nice shout out from Darren, who loves your work. Thanks for all you do. And yes,
thank you, Darren.
Matt says, can't wait to get it. Saw the book in person at Emerald City Comic Con. Had to upgrade to the hardcover. Very cool.
Oh, good. That it was. So we went to Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle this weekend.
Yeah,
and it was the first chance for us to talk about the book in public, but we actually had samples of the book there to show people. So that was really cool. We brought postcards to give away, but it was really nice to let people actually hold the book and see what's inside, because we can only, for various reasons, we can only show so much of it right now. So until people get it in their hands, they'll see all that's in there and how special of a book it actually is. So we're super excited that we were able to show a couple hundred people, what it looked like, and to hold it in their hands, and to actually the fact that someone upgraded from the soft cover to the deluxe hardcover says a lot about the quality of the books that John makes. And it's funny, we had the option to do add-on and stretch goals, and what John Flesk does at the beginning of the campaign is he makes the books, the stretch goal books. He adds the gold foil, he adds the extra pages, he adds the gatefolds at the beginning. So there's no need for us to do stretch goals to add those things, because that's the book he makes. And so the stretch goals he kind of adds are things that are fun, that were these stickers and postcards and some extra prints. He wants to make the book from the beginning the absolute best book, no compromises. So that was really special to see that we didn't have any reason to add anything more to the book. We had, it was so full now, so no compromise on it.
I'm sorry that we've waited so long to do this conversation. We literally are in the last 2 days of the campaign. So if people still want to jump in and grab the book, you can go to Kickstarter. And again, it's The Art of Rachel and Terry Dodson. More comments. Oh, I'm really glad Stefan Sejic is joining us, as he does. And,
cool. Thanks, Stefan. Appreciate it.
Very cool. Yeah, nice compliment from him. Chemdog, the first couple of books I read that Terry drew were Hulk 433 and the Storm series from 1996. That's cool.
Yes, that's all pre-Rachel time. And the one unique thing about this book is that people don't understand is that I worked for a few years before Rachel came along, inking my work. So none of that stuff is actually in this book. This is The Art of Rachel and Terry. So this is our stuff on. Yeah. But
a long run. 25 years the two of you collaborating.
Yeah. No,
that's great.
It's a stunning amount of work. It's amazing how much stuff we've done.
I'm thrilled for you, man. Truly, and again, well deserved, and I'm so glad it was well received. And really, everybody got it, especially that black and white one. It's limited only to 500 copies, and I know there's still some left. And again, if I had to scratch, that'd be the one that I'd back there, because I really,
thanks.
Well, there's something about your guys' art too. As much as I love the colors and stuff, I really do love seeing the lines and everything, and the black and white presentation.
Yeah, it's a whole other medium. It'd be hard to replicate that in a comic book. So I'm glad that people are able to see it this way.
Totally.
And then again, and with the Kickstarter, we had only 2 days left. I thought it was best to actually kind of remind people, because you can bid 30 days ago, but it's most important you do it by the last day. So as long as we're talking live now, it's still, people have 2 full days to still hop on there and get it. And the thing is, the Kickstarter has done so well that we'll be able to distribute the book worldwide, I think, starting in August or September. We're able to get that figured out and get that dealt with once the Kickstarter came through and got started. So we will get the you back the Kickstarter, you'll have your books in April or May, plus all
That's
the bonus
outstanding.
stuff. Yeah. And then the worldwide distribution will start late summer. So
Okay.
Yeah. So for people, because the one thing, this is the one thing that we really discovered on this project is that shipping in the US is really cheap. Shipping outside the US, basically anywhere but the US, is approximately $90. And so if you're buying a $40 book or $80 book, you're paying 1 or 2 times as much to get the book in shipping. And I've told everybody that I can that, we apologize. There's nothing we can do about the price of the shipping. But if you can hold off and just wait and get it, hopefully through your local comic or bookstore in August or September overseas. I know next time if we do a Kickstarter, I'm going to find out how much it costs to ship a signed book plate. And I'm hoping that's going to be a $10 fee or something. And we'll do that all for the international buyers. So they can't get the book, but they can get a book plate or sticker that they can put in their book when it does come out. Something. So I really feel bad because it's 90% Americans to the rest of the world. It's a real disappointing number that we have so many disappointed fans that way.
I can appreciate that. I saw Don say that he met you at a London show, and so yeah. I mean, does Flesk have good distribution internationally?
Yeah. No, his books are distributed. I mean, I can't tell you everywhere, but I know that it's like any other normal Image or Marvel or any other major kind of publisher will have that kind of same distribution. So it should be in the previous catalogs, wherever you can get a previous catalog in the world, you'd definitely be able to get it.
Understood. Yeah, people are commenting on the shipping. Kenneth says he's sorry he missed you last weekend at Emerald City. Looking forward to seeing the book. And I again. So yeah, how else was Emerald City? Who of our friends did you see?
Oh boy. Emerald City is a great show. It's the one show. It's one of the shows I do every year. As I like to say, it's the one I can drive to. Seattle's a great city for the show. You walk out the door and you're in the middle of Seattle. The Pike Market. Yeah. You can see the tower. You can see the Space Needle, I should say. You can walk up to Capitol Hill for some really good food. So I always love doing that show. The fans are always terrific. Who did we see at the show? Who
Brian
did we
was
see?
There. I know Bettis
Brian was. Yes,
there.
I talked to Brian. Kieran Gillen was there.
Good deal.
Becky Clunan, who I've known forever but never actually met. I actually was able to stop by and say hi and actually say hi to her in person for the first time.
Lovely woman.
And Michael Conrad, her partner and writer of so many things right now, was there. I sat next to Randy Emberlin, who it's so funny. Randy and I always happen to end up sitting by each other at Emerald City. But Randy was famous for working on Eric Larson's and Mark Bagley's Spider-Man stuff back in the 80s and 90s, the Carnage stuff and all that kind of stuff. And so that's stuff that I kind of grew up reading as a kid. And I would show my portfolio to Randy as a kid because Randy is a Portland area artist, and so I was able to show him my stuff at shows.
Sure.
So now to be sitting by Randy at shows, and I'm working on Spider-Man stuff as we speak, and he worked on Spider-Man stuff, back in his day. So it's kind of a fun thing. So, and then I think I've done that show now for a dozen years, and so it's really cool to have the regular fans. And actually, I just remembered Chris Warner, who has been an editor at Dark Horse forever. But Chris was another guy that I would show my work to. And Chris did some amazing work in the 80s and 90s for Doctor Strange and some other stuff, but some creator-owned stuff at Dark Horse, which I loved. And Chris would look at my portfolio when I was, a teenager and give me the best advice. And Chris was the one that gave me advice that to this day I still use as I compose pages. And once I knew I was ready to work after he said, I have no more suggestions for you. So that guy who was like one of my favorite artists ended up being something that I was able to learn so much from him that I started working at that point then while still in college from that advice. But Chris was there at the show, and he actually has just retired now from working as an editor at Dark Horse. So
wow,
that's cool. And he's talking about drawing comics again, which I hope he does because
come back. Jesus, absolutely.
Yeah.
Chem Dog says he loved Chris's Predator miniseries from 1989. There you go, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very
Chris
cool.
Warner did a creator-owned book in Dark Horse Presents called Black Cross, which was the coolest. It was like kind of like a little post-apocalyptic. What do you call it? Like I don't know. He was just a tough guy with a heart of gold. You know, it was that kind of thing, and it always had these nice little endings to his stories. But the artwork he did on it was some of the best stuff he ever did. And it was all black and white work. And that was so inspiring for me as someone growing up to see that comics were being made in Oregon. And there were people working for Marvel and DC, but seeing people doing creator-owned work. And, you know, it wasn't called that at the time. It was like just doing your own stuff. And so I always grew up knowing that that's what I wanted to do. I knew that Marvel and DC is fun to work for and great to work for, but that opportunity to do whatever I want to do, create my own comics, that was always there. It was never, you know, get in the door, do the mainstream stuff, and which I still do. But knowing the reality was, I could do my best work if I created it myself. And to this day, I credit Dark Horse Comics for that, because you know, as a kid, seeing that stuff coming out and knowing it was being done in my neighborhood, basically, you know, that's pretty cool. And really set that bar for me to go that direction, as opposed to being the guy that drew thousands of issues of one book. You know, that was never my goal.
No, I understand, but I got a couple DC and Marvel examples for you. There's of course, Carol Danvers herself and the various iterations from Ms. Marvel to Captain Marvel, and then I grabbed these two covers from Superman and Batman 50 with Batgirl and Supergirl as well.
Right,
pretty cool, you know. And again, it's these faces, Terry. I'm going to do an Adventureman group shot of the women,
the sisters. Yeah.
Say it again. The sisters, indeed.
The sisters, absolutely, yes.
Man. No, good stuff. And truly, Terry, I love what you and Matt are doing with Adventureman, and I love too that it's got that great retro feel, but you put a modern spin on it at the same time, and it really is kind of a love letter to the classic pulps while still telling a very modern story. It's funny. I just talked to Chaikin a week or so ago about the new release of the final volume of Times Squared, and I see a kinship between Adventureman and Times Squared. Would you agree?
Yeah. No, I think there are some certain things there. There's, I think Matt probably addressed that better, but I agree. Yeah, there's some nice little touches. I think a lot of it has to do with people telling fun stories that aren't too tied to continuity. You know, that we're creating our own worlds. And yeah, I'll say, as I've just finished the second issue of this Ghost Lights comes out March 13th, and I will say it is the best issue of Adventureman since the beginning. We are finishing this third arc on a very high note, and I've already talked to Matt about this. I'm going to start drawing the fourth arc in May, because I do not want to lose the steam that we're hitting right now. It's like we are hitting the pitch point of the story, and I really want. I don't want people to wait any longer for it. I mean, that still means maybe December, but that'll be the fastest turnaround we've done from one arc to the next. And that next one will be it'll be at least 3 issues, and it will be pure retro pulp sci-fi meets today, which is exactly what I've been like promising people the whole time.
Yeah,
I'm so excited when everybody sees the last page of issue 2, that'll be out in 2 weeks. They'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I hope they'll be as excited as we are about it.
Well, again, the people that are watching right now, ChemDog has been with you guys from issue 1.
Cool, thank you.
And says it'll be worth the wait. So he's cool about that. Well, and again, you guys, I mean, you do oversized issues. I mean, right?
Correct. Yeah. Well, now, I mean, the issues now, we are actually trying to get down to 22 to 24 pages. I mean, we've figured out what we're really shooting for now is making our annual collections of they're already published at European size, but we really want to try to get more to a European length, because the first 2 volumes were 168 pages, which are very big books, and that was never our plan. Our plan was always to do like an 80 or so page book, you know, but oversized, then with the bonus stuff. And I think this volume 3, they'll be coming out in July. The Ghost Lights that we're looking at right now, we're sending to the printer tomorrow. That's going to be 68 pages, so it'll be much smaller, but it'll be the same size, height and width. And actually on your bookshelf, it's going to look almost exactly the same as the other 2. I think volume 4 should be closer to 80 to 100 pages.
Okay.
But it will allow us to get that book out every year. Because 168 pages of Adventureman is a little too much for me to do the level I need, quality I need to do. Yeah.
That was, you did oversized for, and forgive me, it's Red One? What was her name?
Yeah, Red One.
Yeah, Red One. Yeah. So no, and again, your guys' art, the Dodson art and everything is it's a pleasure to see that stuff in a bigger size and everything.
I mean, I draw my pages to fit that oversized format. So we actually have to we shrink them down slightly for the comic books, and that was something I learned to do on the Red One book. I planned it out that way. I knew that we were doing it for a European publisher, but I also knew that I had the American rights. And so I knew I was going to bring it over as a comic book, because actually Xavier Dorson, who's the French writer, loves American comics, and he grew up on those. So he really wanted his own comic book. And speaking of this, we are discussing the volume 3, the final volume of that story.
Of Red One. Red One,
because we really left it on a cliffhanger. And and the thing is, kind of like with Adventureman, this next arc of Red One will be the whole reason you bought the book. All along, it's like the story that we've been waiting to tell occurs in this 3rd volume, and our plan is to get that out hopefully over this next year, because I don't know, it's fun stuff.
There's a mini Red One story, and you explain the process right in your art book as well.
Right. Yeah. And the funny enough, doing those 2 pages, it was like, this is exactly what this book should be. We kind of figured, we both really just talked a lot about that and figured out that is exactly, we both had ideas of what the book was going to be, but we kept the story and everything, and the art's good, but we were missing something, and now we know what that is. And so that 3rd volume is going to wrap up all the points from those first 2 books and really make it sing. It's kind of like the pitch has come in, and now we can hit it out of the park. We know the game now. So we're really excited to get that out.
And also noticing that in the art book, it reminded me that Howard Chaykin and Mark Waid are kind of doing a roadshow of how they put together comics, words and pictures. And I don't know, would you ever consider, do you teach, and would you ever want to share the knowledge and everything in any sort of seminar?
I love talking to artists and young artists and teaching people stuff. I personally wouldn't take the time to stop doing what I do to teach, because I've decided that I enjoyed the process. I have so much work and I have so many things I want to do. It'd be really difficult for me to stop doing that. But I definitely would do seminars or 3-day things, or I always am happy to look at people's portfolios at shows, and
sure.
Anybody that has a question, I love to answer those questions. I love sharing process. I mean, our book has a 27-step how we made the cover. So we go from the sketches through the pencil stages, through the inks, through the colors, because the whole, since we produce the whole package ourselves in our studio, from sketches through the color stage, we can show that off. And I think if we do another one of these books, it'll be half how-to. I really think we have so much information to share with people that for our next Art Of book, we'll do half of it Art Of, and the rest of it being a real how-to pencil, ink, and draw and color comics, because we have that information. Yeah. I enjoy helping people.
No, that's terrific to hear, and I get you, because honestly, I taught for a semester at Columbia College here in Chicago. And as much as I appreciate it, and it was really great meeting the kids, I just don't, as you say, it's like, no, I have my own work that I really want to do. And I don't mean it in a selfish way. I'm really happy on a one-on-one basis to help people out. But yeah, it's like, I'd rather use that hours of teaching the work that I'm trying to do.
Well, and it's funny, as both my parents were teachers. My oldest brother's actually a professor. Another brother was a teacher. So it's definitely in my blood. It's just the desire to create is stronger. I see the time I have and what I want to create in that time is so important to me. But yeah, I definitely enjoy meeting new artists and helping people, and even professionals. I love swapping art talk with shop talk with other professionals. That's the best. Sitting at conventions or whatever, or even online now, we can communicate so easily and
Sure.
ask how people did something and find that stuff out. The level of trust amongst artists and friendship and bonds to share that information is pretty high. I mean, we all want to know what everybody else does and learn their secrets, and it kind of makes us all better artists.
I respect that, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here, there was what was the comment on Red One? Wait a second. There it is. Don says, Red One was really super cool. Love her uniform in that. Can't wait. When I first saw Red One, I thought of the old, and again, this showing my age, but it's because certainly there's maybe even, and I don't know if it was behind your mind, these two references. You've got, of course, from Pulp Fiction, what's her face's yellow biker outfit. But
Kill
I
Bill.
also,
The Kill Bill outfit.
right. Yeah, of course, Kill Bill. But also, I was thinking of this old Raquel Welch movie, Fathom. And I don't know if you're aware of that, man, but like it really is this like great kind of Modesty Blaze sort of adventurer. And it was amazing because it was made in the late 60s, early 70s. And again, it just had that great iconic look. You see her skydiving and riding motorcycles and cars and things like that, and it had that same Red One vibe.
Oh yeah, no, it was definitely the original costume was the same costume she ended up having, but it was black. I went with the black leather look because that. But then we decided that was too much, like too many other things. And so once started thinking about it, and thinking about like the Elvis outfits and the Evel Knievel outfits, where you got the reds and the blues, and since she's Red One, it just made so much sense to separate her out. It wasn't the best costume for it to be a spy in, but it sure did look good. And that, she's confident enough in her abilities and her skills and obviously it's just way more eye catching and a lot of fun to draw. It was that Evel Knievel Elvis, that 60s kind of cat suit looking, Emma Peel thing all combined. Yeah, for sure.
I get it. I absolutely get it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for people who don't know Adventureman, I'll try and explain, and then of course you fill in the blanks of what I'm not saying. But Adventureman, we've got a modern group of women that have tapped into the spirit and powers, if you will, of a classic 30s style pulp adventure team. Think Doc Savage and his 5 companions. But these are women, and they've again, through some sort of mystical way, they've tapped into the spirit and essence of these heroes, and now we've got a new team.
Right, and what's happening specifically in the story is that since the original Adventureman was defeated by these villains, he's gone, and they've taken up the mantle to defeat his original villains. So it's the bad guys from the past have come to today, and it's up to Claire and her sisters to defeat them. So with the help of her 10-year-old son who reads all the old classic Adventureman books and learns the ins and outs and kind of helps solve mysteries that way. So this was, as Matt, I think has said, is that this was a book that he wrote for his daughter because he hadn't anything in his repertoire or in his works to have her read. So this was always the idea. And it was cool. Actually, I was talking to Brian Bendis at Seattle this weekend, and he said that his kids love Adventureman. It's always the first book they read when Matt drops those off. So that was nice to hear that we're reaching those guys. And it's a fun book. It's a positive book, and it's a mystery. It's so many things that both Matt and I love, and it's our chance to play with those elements. And man, it's so much fun to draw. I'm so looking forward to getting back onto it and doing more.
Beyond the images of the story themselves and the covers, I just love even the pages that are just like an old time theater, and it really does kind of pull you into the world of this, kind of combination of Art Deco retro crazy stuff with the science fiction and everything. No,
one of the main characters of the book is New York City. I mean, the whole reason Matt and I did this book was that we were doing an issue of the X-Men that took place in New York, and I told Matt how much I loved drawing New York, and he goes, "If you like New York, I got a story for you." And so, I mean, New York has always been one of the main stars of this book. So we get New York, we get to see the New York, the Deco New York of the 30s and 40s, and then the New York we know today. And what we've been doing kind of in the background, and people will really notice this in the new issues, is that those worlds are combining. You're seeing the Deco New York is coming through our New York, and this new chimera, this new thing that's never been seen before. And that's so much fun to play with.
I bet, man. No, that's awesome. And also, again, you'll forgive me because the women are terrific, but I immediately was drawn to cross draw.
Right.
And again, this is your that's great, man. Because again, I think I don't know why, because as I get older, I get more excited about the Western genre,
Right.
and I really appreciate what like Scott Snyder and Dan Panosian are doing with Canary. It's a great
Right.
modern Western, but yeah, it's this, and really, especially the way you're doing cross draw, it really, as opposed to putting him on a motorcycle, and again, he's one of these retro heroes. I just love him on his Black Stallion and everything. It's it's very iconic.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing with Adventureman is there's all these classic adventure tropes and ideas and things have been done so many times, and it's our chance to grab the ones that we like and play with them and run with them. And these are the Black Cowboys of Brooklyn, I think, was the original idea of this, and that might actually even be a historical thing. And and it's a legacy. It's a legacy character. It's a mantle that goes from generation to generation with cross draw. And it's great. It's again we're spinning the cowboy genre on its head a bit and running with it. Rachel loves horses. I love to draw horses, so I think Matt knew that. I always loved westerns. I liked to read them as a kid, so there's always been a part of me that enjoyed that iconography of the western. And yeah, again, there's a shot that we used on the 9 cover, which is the one with him dancing with her, with the two of them dancing.
Yes.
And I put him in the big 70s what do you call it, like Dwight Yoakam kind of Elvis kind of western costume, the all decorated up version of that stuff. So
reflected in this print, or are you thinking
exactly exactly.
There we go. Yeah, man. And again, you'll forgive
stuff.
me. Yeah, and you'll forgive me for comparing it, but it reminds me of that wonderful Jim Lee image that he used to sell as the giant lithograph of Batman and Catwoman kissing and everything. And it's but again, as someone said in the chat, you guys, you and Rachel, it's these faces, man. It's these beautiful faces.
Thanks.
That we all.
This is actually based on a Leyendecker cover. Leyendecker was Rockwell before Rockwell.
Yes,
he did all this gorgeous Saturday Evening Post before his biggest fan Norman Rockwell took over and did it. So that's a homage to a Leyendecker cover, which seems so obvious to me, but then it worked out so well. I'm so happy we were able to pull that off. That actually ended up being the cover for the French version of Adventureman Volume 2.
Makes sense. No, and I'm sure Adventureman is finding its audience internationally. Yeah.
We're in 8 languages. So, which is great. I mean, it's it's as good as we could hope for. We're really happy. It's a book that we love doing, and it's allowing us to keep doing a book that's fairly wacky and non-traditional. And if we can get the schedule back on a little better, which we're shooting to do, I think the sales will stay strong, and we'll keep doing more. So,
I'm curious, and again, because you've done so many characters in both the DC and Marvel universes, would there ever be an interest or time to do any of their classic Western characters?
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't, I did one of the Rawhide Kid covers like 20 years ago. There were some of those variants that Dave Johnson did, and I did one of those.
Go ahead. Yeah, tell me about that. Was that the old series where they brought him back and kind of implied that he was gay?
Yes, right. And I think, exactly that one.
That was great.
That was
great. Rod Zimmerman, I want to say, was the writer of that.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
I
loved
think we'd be open to that.
It was subtle, and it's fantastic. Where it's just like, every now and then he would say something that was just kind of a little subversive, and he'd get the weird looks from the other cowboys.
Right.
And it's like,
that was that Marvel Knights period where kind of anything goes, which was a period that, I worked in quite a bit. I did the Marvel Knights Spider-Man. I did the Trouble book, those Marvel Knights.
Yes.
So I got to experience all that stuff firsthand.
So, Terry, I'm so glad you mentioned Trouble because I forgot. And it's a beautiful book, but with Madam Web out and kind of what Madam Web implies as kind of a C story. I wouldn't even call it a B story, but you see Ben Parker and and there are allusions to Peter being born and everything. And it takes me right back to Trouble.
Right.
And
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. I remember Joe Quesada calling me to do that book. It's like, yeah, I don't know. But Mark Miller wrote it and we had a blast on it. Whether it actually is real Marvel or not, we'll let history decide. But it was fun to do. It was a good time. It was a good change of pace.
Yeah, and I honestly, again, that whole Marvel Knights period, I appreciated the experimentation, whether it worked or not. Andy Watson doing Namor as a teenage love story. I remember that really well. No, it was a really interesting time. Of course, everyone was bummed that your Spider-Man Black Cat story with Kevin Smith never got finished. I don't know how
we finished it. It was 3 years later. It was 2000. The first 3 issues came out in 2002. The last 3 came out in 2006.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you guys finished it. That's good.
No, I did the 6 issues of The Trouble. I did the 12 issues of Marvel Knights Spider-Man. I did some other stuff. So
was the 12 issues of Spider-Man, was that with Miller?
Yeah. I did 10. And Frank Cho did 2. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Jeez. It was good times. We got there eventually. So it got collected. Yes. Yeah.
Was that the Evil That Men Do? Was that the title?
That's correct. Yep.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, so I last February, we did 2 issues of Amazing Spider-Man, 19 and 20, that Joe Kelly wrote, and it was a Spider-Man Black Cat story. And so I thought, it's the first time I'd drawn those kind of interiors in a long time, and it was pretty special. And so actually today I'm actually coloring an 8-page Spider-Man Black Cat story that'll be an Amazing Spider-Man 50 out in May. That's written by Marv Wolfman.
Wow, that's great, man. Jeez.
Yeah, it's a great story. It's a fun little story. I'm coloring it myself, so it's really cool to all these years later to be able to color my own Marvel and DC stuff myself. That's fun. I mean, I've always been lucky to work with really good colorists, but I really have a vision of how I like my stuff to work and look, and it really affects how my storytelling and my page design and how Rachel inks my stuff, knowing that I'm coloring myself. It's very enjoyable. So yeah, that'll be out in 2 more months. So I think that's only my only real Marvel or DC interiors this year. I'm doing like 2 or 3 covers a month for Marvel and DC. I just finished up a run on the Thunderbolts. There's an unannounced DC series that I'm doing the covers for that'll be out this summer with characters you want to see me draw. I'm going to be doing I got a Spider-Punk, a Spider-Gwen. What else do I have coming out? Zatanna, Power Girl. I mean, all sorts of classic characters that people want to see me draw. Doing the covers satisfies a lot of itches that I have that I can, hop in and hop out, give my best work, and then go back to doing the creator-owned work or whatever else I'm working on. I'm in month 16 of working on I'm the lead designer of a character designer on a video game. And that video game's for superheroes, but that's actually been something I've been doing kind of like half of my day job is doing that. So that's going to be ending, I think this month. And then I'll have a little bit more time to really get back onto Adventureman regularly. And I have starting tomorrow, I am on page 1 of a one-shot creator-owned book by another Eisner winning writer that I'm very excited about. It's a complete 180 turn for me. Every time I do a creator-owned book, I really try to do a hard pivot on anything I've done before. And this is another one. I go wait to say anything more about it, but it has a male lead, and it's the type of book I really wanted to draw. And of course, this writer brought in this unique spin on it that just makes it unlike anything else in the genre that we're exploring, and which makes me excited because I feel like I don't like doing things that have been done before. You always want to tread new ground. And, yeah. So lots of comic book work coming up that I'm very excited about.
That's excellent. Chemdog says he loved the Phantom Rider from Marvel, and I would love that. But of course, that would unfortunately wouldn't give us the opportunity to see the eyes, and I don't, it'd be because his mask is so generic. Even Spider-Gwen, that's too bad. I don't,
Yes.
Her face doesn't really allow you to have that usual Dodson face that you guys are known for, you know.
Yeah, that's funny. It's like something like Spider-Man, whose face is covered. I really feel like I've made that a face. Yeah, Spider-Gwen, Marvel maybe wanted me not to put the put the mask on her face. Now that after I turned it in, it's like I bet they would have rather have had a cute Spider-Gwen cover as opposed to the more dynamic action one that I did. But that's what I have to choose what excites me at the time.
Sure.
That was a very design heavy cover I did for that. So.
But yeah, I can only, and I'm sure you've drawn Gwen before. And again, Gwen's got those soulful eyes that you immediately fall. Dude, it's so, again, these are drawings. But I think of you, and I think of a guy like Greg Smallwood and the way that he drew ice in that Human Target series he did with Tom King. And it's like, all right, I should not have these feelings for a drawing that I'm having right. I'm like Dana Andrews in Laura, the fantastic noir movie from the 40s. Where he sees the painting of Gene Tierney and falls in love with her. No, or Jimmy Stewart in Vertigo.
Right. Yeah. No, it's fun. It's important to make the characters interesting and people believe they're real and care about them, and you do whatever you can to make people, the readers, invested in the story. So, covering people's faces makes it a little bit trickier. Sometimes it's a good challenge, like with Spider-Man. I love the idea of Spider-Man looking like he is and making those eyes move and the webbing on his face move and how he reacts. I love drawing that.
I respect that. Absolutely, man. All right, Cooper's late to the game, but he wanted to say he loves your work. He really enjoys the figure drawings from life that you've been posting on your Instagram. I got to start following you on Instagram, Tara. I didn't realize.
Yeah. Instagram is something I try to post these stories up daily, and I try to shoot for 3 actual posts a week. I seem to get the most engagement from fans, pros, and then actually on the site I get to see so many cool things. And I actually in August I started going to life drawing again. I hadn't done it in 20 years. All my art training I had in college was all from life. I really learned to draw by drawing from life and painting from life. And those skills are what got me to where I am today. And I still kind of fall back on, but I could feel my muscles atrophy, my drawing skills kind of getting saggy. And I really felt I needed to be in life drawing. And a lot of that started happening during COVID. And I just didn't have the opportunity, and doing Zoom drawing just didn't appeal to me because since I learned to draw the form in real life, not from photos or whatever. So in August, I started going again, and it's so good. It's 3 hours long, and it feels like 20 minutes to me. It's like I'm set up, I do it, and I'm done. It's over, and it's like, what a blast. So.
Gabe Hardman does the same thing, and I know it energizes him. And I don't know if again, another Portland guy. I don't know is he Portland? No, he's LA. Isn't he LA? Or is he Portland?
He's LA. But he's doing amazing life drawings. They're very cool. I see those on Twitter. They're very neat.
Yeah.
I'd say a combination of that, and then I've been doing outdoor painting on weekends, plein air, just going out painting landscapes. But what it allows me to play with color. And you can't erase your whatever you put down. You got to make work. So I really enjoy the challenge of those accidents that come up, and I got to make them something good, make them happy accidents. And it's a good challenge for me, and it's keeping me on my toes and making me a better artist. And doing something else besides just drawing figure works or drawing panels or pages or covers. It all feeds itself and makes me a better artist.
I would imagine the landscape stuff, helps you out with your backgrounds and things like that.
Yeah. And it actually, what it does is it really helps me think about color better, because how do I just not put down what I see, but actually make it better than what it is? And that's stuff that I bring back into my comic work and vice versa. The way I approach stuff now, how much of a better artist I am at doing figures and landscapes because of drawing comic book panels, learning to break things down in simple shapes and simple designs. That's exactly so when I approach landscapes now, I'm looking for all these big shapes and stuff, just like I would in a comic book panel. So that was something I wouldn't have guessed would have happened, but yeah, that's actually been really good training for me.
Have there been, it's funny, I'm glad you mentioned this 8-pager you got coming up with Wolfman for Spider-Man. Have there been because I always think of you really and your contemporaries, Hickman and Fraction and Kevin Smith and the like, Mark Miller, but have there been, great classic writers that you've had the opportunity to collaborate with?
The very first writer I worked with in comics was Mike Barr. He wrote the Mantra book that I did. So that was actually like the first older school, even though it wasn't even old school at that point, but it was older school. And then I got to work with oh boy, on Generation X, it was Larry Hama, who wrote my pages, wrote that book for 2 years for me. But since then, it seems like I've been working with contemporaries, and then I'll come with someone for years and years and years. Marv Wolfman's the first time I've worked with an older pro since I got in, and I thought, oh, this is such a cool opportunity to do this.
Yeah.
And actually, something along those lines is I've had an idea for my own story, which after Adventureman's done a little bit more, and after Red One's done a bit more, I have this story that I've been cooking up for 12 years now. That I'm finally going to write myself. I've already started writing the stuff. So it took a long time, but I knew in general what I wanted to do. And hilariously, I met Zach Kaplan this weekend, a writer, and I was telling him the gist of the story I had and the problem I had with the story. And he actually said, I've done a story that's similar, and this is how you solve that problem. And so 11 o'clock Saturday night, he helped solve this huge problem I had with how to tell my story. I knew what I wanted to do. I just didn't know how to arrange it properly. So lo and behold, I talked to a writer, and he straightened me out. And like ever since then, this story that I have had and couldn't put all the pieces together has been going together perfectly. So I'm extremely excited about that. So that's that first true writing experience that I'm going to do. There's always been suggestions or parts of writing before, but this will actually be the whole thing, I think.
Say that again, more excuses for us to come back and do some new stuff in the future.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Truly, again, thank you for allowing me into your world in our conversations and letting me talk to you about these great things that you're working on. And I'm thrilled. And again, as I always say regarding teaching, it's kind of the same thing of when people don't have time to come on Wordville, it's like, I'm really sorry, man, I'm heavy on deadlines. And it's like, listen, I would rather you make the donuts than talk about making the donuts. Right. So that's fine. We want more donuts from you. Absolutely, Tara. So that's terrific. And I'll remind everybody that we're only 48 hours left for this great Kickstarter campaign for the art of Rachel and Terry Dodson. These are the 3 versions. There are fantastic prints that you can get signed by the team as well. And also we'll remind you, too, that Adventureman, the 3rd volume, first of all, the final chapter of Volume 3, that's coming up in a couple weeks, right?
Correct. That will be out in March 13th, so a week and a half. And then the collection, that will be out July 17th. So it'll be out the week before San Diego. So the Kickstarters will be shipping to people in May. The Adventureman will be out in July, and then for those who can't get the Kickstarter or can't have it shipped to them, it should be in bookstores in August or September. So, yeah, lots of stuff coming. And then I'm hoping that the new Adventureman issues will be out in December. So, really want to get these moving along. So it's very exciting. More Red One coming. Yeah, that's yes. There's a lot of announcements coming up for a lot of different things that I'm working on. So I don't think I've ever been so busy in my career, which is a good thing because it's all stuff that I enjoy doing, and I think I'm doing some of my best work, and I'm hoping that people are enjoying it. So, but yeah, it's a diverse amount of things that I do, but it keeps it interesting. And I think that's like the most important thing is that there's always like new challenges for me because that makes me a better artist to kind of keep bouncing around. And then learning to say no.
Sure.
It's my newest challenge, and to stick with it. So,
well, Wayne says you guys are awesome to meet in person, and I'm glad that people had that opportunity at Emerald City. What's your next con?
San Diego will be in July, which I always do. Let's see, Terrificon in August for the very first time. New York will be in October. What else? And then probably some international stuff as well. So. Oh, great! Yeah, very cool. Well, as I was telling you off the air, I'm happy. I'm looking forward to seeing you at Terrificon in Connecticut in August. And like I said, I'll finally get a chance to meet Rachel, which will be fantastic. Right. Here we go. And once again, we'll throw that shot up there because if Rachel can't be here in person, she can be here in spirit. Right. So I appreciate that.
No, Terry, as always, man, fantastic conversation. I really appreciate it, and continued success. Wonderful work.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah.
No. And thank you, everybody, for watching and the great questions. I hope on Thursday, I haven't gotten the confirmation, but Bob Greenberger edited the art of Ramona Fraden. And sadly, we lost her in the last couple of weeks. And God, I'm an idiot. You know, Tara, I just talked to Chaikin and forgot that he did the wonderful interview with Ramona for that book.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but I want to talk to Bob because Bob put the book together, and it's a great excuse to do a tribute episode to one of the legends. You ever have the opportunity to meet Ramona?
After she died, I heard that and I was like, did I actually ever meet her? And I don't think I did. I think I was at numerous cons that she was at. I saw numerous of the drawings that she did for people at those cons I was at, but I didn't get to meet her. It's like I lucked out and got to meet a lot of those people. But yeah, I did not get to meet her. So, but wow, she was, doing amazing work, being creative and doing stuff till the end. That's very inspiring as another artist who's worked for numerous years. But nice to know that to see people keep being excited and doing stuff.
Oh my God, yeah. My last Baltimore, I bought a Green Arrow sketch, 5x8 of and that was the great thing at her table. They would always have these wonderful examples. I met her a couple times at the shows. The first New York show, she was drawing at her table, and the big dumb ox that I am and everything, I bumped at her table, and great embarrassment. And thankfully, had subsequent meetings with her, and I'm sure she didn't remember me, but it was always in the back of my mind, like, all right, keep your distance, don't disrupt.
We're forgiving. We understand. It's always interesting interactions at tables. You never know.
What are you going to do?
You never know who you'll bump into. So yeah.
So that's planned for Thursday on Word Balloon. It'll probably be in the afternoon, everybody. So until then, thanks a lot for watching. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.